Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Carla Mingo and I am back with you today to do another cooking video. Today we're cooking smothered steak with gravy. I grew up in the South and I learned all of these great Southern recipes from my grandmother, and so I'm going to show you a Southern style smothered steak. And I hope you enjoy the video. I hope you try the recipe. So let's get started. Before we start, I always like to, of course, wash my hands, because it's important that even if you are in the house all day, when you're cooking, you should still wash your hands. Okay, so let's get started on this amazing smothered steak and gravy recipe. So let's first start with the ingredients that we're going to be using today. So we're going to start with our steak. This is shoulder steak, and we're going to use a little seasoned salt. We're going to use some kosher salt, coarse kosher salt. We're going to use some onion powder. We're going to use pepper, garlic powder, and some organic olive oil, as well as some flour. We're going to use some onion. You can use chopped onion that's already chopped. I like this because it makes cooking easy for me. I don't have to chop onion if I don't have to, but if I do, I will. So either way, but you'll use onion. I will put the recipe below in the description of my video, so you'll have all of the measurements and everything if you want to know how much of each to use. So yeah, these are your basic ingredients. Okay guys, it's time to get started on cooking our steak. So the meat has already been washed, and I have 3 large sizes, and they're really too large. So what I like to do is cut them down so that they're like at least a good serving size. So just take a knife and cut your steak down to where it's, you know, a serving for one person, and also it can fit on the plate. So just take your meat and cut that in half. Now we have 6 pieces, 6 smaller pieces instead of the large pieces. I like to use kosher salt, the coarse kosher salt, because it's a heavier salt, and so it really gets into this heavier type meat, the thicker meat. It's just it's gonna give it a lot more season, and you don't have to use as much. So I'm gonna do the kosher salt. Not too much, because the gravy is going to have its own seasoning as well. So you don't want to over season the steak, because it's going to marinate in this gravy. Okay, so you want to just keep that in mind. So after the salt, I'm going to do some pepper, and I'm going to use a little bit of garlic powder. Again, this recipe will be below my video. Like I said in my previous videos, I don't really cook with like a recipe per se. I just add, but I'll actually create a recipe for you. The next thing is onion powder. So a little bit of onion powder, and then I don't know why, I really don't need this, but I'm gonna add a little bit of Lowry seasoned salt. It's just, I don't know, some things I just do just because I just feel like I like it, because it's a pretty color. It's like this orange color, and it just makes my meat, it just makes it look, I don't know, like I'm doing something, I guess. I don't know, but not too much. You don't want your meat too salty. And so those are the seasonings. And then what I like to do is to rub my seasoning into my meat. It's like almost giving your meat a massage. And a lot of people think this isn't important in seasoning your meat, but it makes such a difference. I want you to try it. The next time you're seasoning your meat, I want you to take your hand and rub the seasoning into the meat and see if you can tell a difference. It's almost like it just puts it down inside the meat and makes it more seasoned all the way through. So once I do that, I'm going to flip my meat over, and I'm going to season the other side. Okay guys, now that my meat is all seasoned, the next step is we're going to actually brown this meat. So the way we do it is we're going to take some flour and we're going to cover our meat with flour, okay? Now you can put the flour in a bowl. I was going to do it in a bowl and then dip my meat in the flour, but I just decided to do it this way. So I'm just gonna take it directly from here and into the hot oil so that we can brown it. So we're just gonna add a little flour. Ooh, if you guys could smell this right now, this smells so good already, and it's not even cooking at this point. I know you guys, so y'all see me with my readers on, right? I don't normally wear my readers, but I don't know, I just wanted to wear them today. And so I know I look different. Every time I wear glasses and I'm looking up in my glasses like this, people will say I look like a school teacher. Well, I was a school teacher, so yeah. But yeah, I'm at that age where I have to have my readers for everything, y'all. I mean, I am like, I don't know if you're the same way, but I have a pair of readers in every room in my house. I have a pair of readers in my kitchen, my bedroom, my office, my car, in my purse. I can't live without them. So that's where I am. So at some point I may get contacts or something, I don't know. But okay, so the meat is all floured. Okay. All right, so then let's move to the next step. Okay guys, so the next step in finishing our smothered steak is we're going to take some olive oil, just a little bit of olive oil, and put this in a skillet, and we're going to let that heat up a little bit. Okay, so once your grease is hot, you're going to take your floured steak and carefully place it in the hot oil. Make sure your oil is hot enough. You should hear a sizzling sound when you place the steak in the oil. What we're doing now is we're just browning our steak on both sides. So this is a real quick process. It should not take longer than 2 or 3 minutes. Well, maybe up to 5 minutes, just depending on how thick your steak is and how hot your grease is. But you can make it pretty hot. I have mine on high. So we're just going to let that brown on each side. You can check your meat just by kind of looking at the bottom to see if it's brown enough, and then you can see this is brown enough. So you're just going to flip it over. We're not trying to cook it all the way through because it's going to cook more when you are actually having it simmer in the gravy. So we're just getting the outside nice and brown. You do not have to use olive oil. You can use any kind of oil, really. I'll cook a lot with olive oil because olive oil is really good for you. So after you brown your steak, this is what it will look like, just kind of a golden brown. You're just going to set your steak aside, drain it on some paper towels because you're going to put it back in here in just a minute. So we're going to put this to the side and we're going to make some gravy. So the next thing we're going to do is make our gravy. We're going to pour most of the oil out and leave a lot of the brown remnants inside the skillet, which is going to help make your gravy. So the first step we're going to do while it's still hot, and we're going to put this on maybe medium heat. We don't want this to go really fast. So with the gravy, the first thing you're doing is you're going to add some flour, and you're going to brown the flour and get the flour as brown as you want your gravy. So if you want a darker brown or lighter brown, this will determine the color of your gravy. So you're going to take some flour. Now, before we get started, you must have all of your stuff ready to go because this is a very fast process. So you will need some water. You'll have your water. You can see that. I have my onions. And I have salt and pepper, as well as my meat nearby. So when this thing get going, we can be ready to go. Okay? So we're gonna start with our flour and also have a whisk so that I can whisk it up as I go. So we're gonna take some flour and add it to this hot grease, not too much. And we're just going to whisk the flour in the hot grease. As you can see, it's turning brown rather quickly. Okay, then what I like to do is add a little bit of water, and I continue to whisk. And if it's cooking too fast, you can turn it down, but add more water, whisk, a little more water, however much you need. This turned brown really quickly because of the extra steak that I had in here, which really already gave it a naturally brown flavor. So you're just gonna keep whisking that. Then you're going to go ahead and add some onion to this. Probably about, I don't know, a half a cup of onion maybe. And you're gonna continue to whisk that. It's going to get thick pretty quickly, and as it gets thick, continue to add a little water at a time. And then you can turn your heat back up if it seems like it's not cooking as fast. And then you're just going to continue to mix this together as you're making the gravy. Hopefully you can see this. It's kind of pasty right now. And if it's pasty, you just want to add a little bit of water at a time, because it will thicken up later, but you just want to continue to add a little water to your gravy and keep whisking your gravy and onions mixture. Okay, I'm gonna turn my heat up just a little bit because it's kind of slowing down. You don't have to have a skillet full of gravy, because once you put your meat in here, the meat will season the gravy, it'll make more gravy and make more water. So you just want like your skillet to be not half full of gravy, but probably a fourth full, okay? So I'm gonna add just a little bit more water because I have quite a bit of steak, and so I wanna make sure I have enough gravy. I don't want it to be too thick. I want this gravy texture to be a little watery when I put my steak in here. I don't want my gravy to be pasty and thick when I put my steak, because it's going to get thicker. So have it a little bit more on the watery side. And then for me, I like to add a little salt and pepper to my gravy, because sometimes the gravies can be very bland. Even though the meat will season it, just add a little bit of salt and pepper directly to your gravy mixture. And let's mix that up a little bit so your gravy will have this nice seasoned taste. Okay, can you see the consistency? It's watery, it's kind of runny, but not too much. And you can always add water later if you feel like it's getting too thick. So now I'm ready to put my meat inside this gravy mixture. I'm going to take the steak that I browned, and I'm going to add it to the gravy. And now it's already getting a little thick, and it's starting to bubble a little bit. So I'm gonna add a little bit of water because I have quite a bit of steak in here, and I want this gravy to cover my steak. So I'm going to add a little water, and it'll cook down here in a minute. So it's okay, you have to just kind of keep checking on it. Right now I'm going to have my heat on about number 6, or I would say medium high. You can check your gravy to see this is still very watery, and that's fine. That's exactly what I want it to be. I want it to be a little bit on the watery side. And if you want, you can start putting the gravy on top of your meat to kind of start getting it seasoned. So as it's simmering, it can get seasoned in here. The skillet is really full, but it'll be all right. I'm just gonna add a little extra gravy on top of my meat to make sure that meat is seasoned really well. And once you got your meat pretty much almost covered with the gravy, it's perfect. You're going to cover it with the lid And you're going to let that simmer probably, I'm going to say maybe 30 minutes or so. You'll just need to check it. It's not going to take a long time, but check it. Don't just leave it on for 30 minutes and walk away. You need to come back and make sure your gravy's not too thick, it's not burning, and move your meat around a little bit. I can tell my gravy is already getting thicker already. As you can see, it's simmering, looking delicious. It's getting a little thick, so I may add a little more water. It's looking great. Hi guys, welcome back. We are now done with our steak. It is sitting here in this gravy, just smelling so delicious. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you try this recipe. You can also do the same thing with chicken. Just do it the same way we did with the steak. We just use chicken instead. Oh, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.